The disgusting truth about genital hygiene in the Victorian era. Hygiene has come a long way in the past few centuries. We went from knowing nothing about disease and illness to creating the field of microbiology. Hygiene especially was misunderstood. Let's go over some disgusting facts about genital hygiene in the Victorian era. The origin of feminine pads. The first modern tampons and pads weren't available until the late 1800s and early 1900s. Women in the Victorian era were among the first to use these modern commercial menstruation products. Specifically, they used bandages designed for soldiers during their periods. These bandages were surprisingly effective since they contained wood pulp. Homemade laundry detergent. Women and people in the Victorian era in general had some creative ways of cleaning their clothes. The first widespread commercial laundry detergent wasn't available until the start of World War I in 1914. Before then, women used to actually use their own urine to clean their clothes. Urine naturally contains ammonia, which is used as a cleaning product even today. Thankfully though, we don't have to clean our clothes with pee anymore. Toilet paper before toilet paper. Just like laundry detergent, people in the Victorian era had a far different way of cleaning themselves after defecating. The first toilet paper squares were sold in the 1870s and the first toilet paper roll was made in 1891. So how exactly did people clean themselves before these modern luxuries? There were several different things they would wipe up. Corn cobs, newspapers, in some instances, nothing. Easy relief. Style was also far different in the Victorian era than it was today. Women in particular wore huge dresses and elaborate outfits that often took hours to put both on and off. It begs the question, how exactly did people deal with using the restroom while wearing those elaborate clothes? Most Victorian-era clothes, especially for women, had slits and holes pre-made into them that allowed the wearer to quickly and easily relieve themselves, without having to fully undress. That certainly must have come in handy. Although the Victorian era has been endlessly romanticized in the modern era, the actual Victorian era had some disgusting aspects. Things like people not wiping or using medical bandages as pads for women. There's still far more to cover though, just like bad air theory. In the introduction, we talked about how the field of microbiology and our understanding of disease and illness first developed in the 1800s. Before then, and during the Victorian era, there was another theory that was widely believed: miasma. Essentially, the theory posits that disease and illness spreads from bad, polluted air instead of bacteria, viruses, etc. It was definitely an easy theory to believe. Victorian-era air was disgusting and polluted heavily with smog and various industrial products. Thankfully, we now know that disease is caused by vectors instead of air. The Great Stink of 1858. Indoor plumbing wasn't particularly common in the Victorian era, even for the highest classes of society. More often, human waste and industrial waste was flushed away to the River Thames that flowed through London. For years, this waste built up and up in the city, until it all culminated in 1858. A particularly hot summer left the city reeking of human waste and industrial waste. It was actually believed that the stench would lead to cholera outbreaks, a few of which happened prior to the Great Stink. Joseph Bazalgette, a civil engineer, was able to redesign London's sewers and effectively put an end to the Great Stink. Onion juice and ammonia. Bathing wasn't the most common practice in the Victorian era. Women often only bathed once or twice a month in lukewarm water. It was believed that extremely hot or cold baths would lead to medical issues. Although they occasionally bathed, they washed their hair even less so. When a woman did wash her hair, she had two options: ammonia or onion juice. Ammonia was effective at removing grime from the hair, but could also damage the skin. Sometimes women would use onion juice instead. It's not surprising that oftentimes their hair didn't smell terribly pleasant.